I'm Sabiha, born and brought up in Delhi. Every time I've been judged by the name more or less because every time you tell someone you are Sabiha, they say, "Oh, are you a Muslim?" I say, "Yes." And then they say, "But you don't look like one." So I'm like, what am I supposed to look like? I mean, am I supposed to have two, devilish horns or something? What is it that is missing from my personality, which should have been there with my name? I've always been judged that I should look like someone else and not like what I look like.
Your name is just your identity. So, and only when people heard that my surname is Ali, they thought, okay, I'm a Muslim. When I was a child, whenever people asked me about my name, they often got confused. They never thought me to be a Muslim. Because Seema basically, of course, many Muslims do have this name, but basically it's a very secular kind of name. You probably are not able to guess the religion of the person on hearing the name. Basically, I'm an individual, I'm a human being. So if you make friends with me, the name shouldn't matter. At present, I'm a homemaker, but I'm a teacher by profession.
Many more issues which come up with identity. In your community, आप लोग तो ये करते हो, आपका घर बहुत साफ है, ऐसे नहीं होता है. What does that mean? I mean, it's all, prejudices which some stereotypes have created and which are not true. It's time we break out of that and we look at Muslims for what they are. I mean, look at me. This is me. I'm not some garden variety coming out from somewhere else. All my friends, all my cousins, my entire extended family looks like this. Without a hijab, without a burqa, as modern, as fluent, as well educated, and working in the mainstream India. This is who I am.
83,971,213. According to the Census of India 2011, there are 83,971,213 unique individuals who are bunched under the heading Muslim woman. In the larger context of nationality and identity, this is a minority within a minority. A stereotype seen in context of a burqa, identified in the confines of a polygamous existence, oppressed by misogyny, often ignored in law unless there is political motivation. Our person of interest this week is not an individual, because it is individuality which is at stake when you're talking about a woman who practices Islam in India.
Like education, like family, like society, religion plays a very important part in what a person will become. The thought process, the personality, or maybe even the dress. So this hijab, of course, I didn't don this since I became an adult. It's just past 2 years back that I make it a point. Religiously, I do it. So again, the word religion comes here because, of course, it is because of the religion that I am doing. And people often think that Muslim girls wearing hijab or maybe wearing a full-fledged burqa, they are forced to do so. But I refuse to believe in this because my hijab, it's a very, very personal choice.
I look at hijab as a piece of cloth which any community could be wearing. Like we have sardars who cover their head. We do not have a controversy about them. We have a lot of women covering their heads in front of their elders, or various ways of covering, showing your respect. We do not have a controversy with respect to that. But with hijab, we've managed to create quite a controversy, which I do not understand why.
Our religion has laid a few guidelines for us, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. Now it is up to us, what convinces us. So it is only after I got convinced from within that, okay, this is right for me. And like personally telling you, I really feel dignified when I go. Of course, girls without going without a hijab, they're equally dignified, they're equally respectable. But it gives me a sense of empowerment, it gives me a sense of security, it gives me a sense of belongingness to my God, to my religion, that I am adhering to what my God expects of me.
Why I don't wear the hijab is a very personal thing, because nobody in my family ever wore it. Neither my mother nor my father's family, nobody wore it. Besides that, I read the text. If you go by the divine book, which is Quran, it mentions only in 4 places, and that too, that women and men have to dress modestly. That's all that is there to hijab in the Quran.
Whatever we respect, whatever is valuable, even if we get a piece of diamond solitaire, we keep it in a box, we wrap it, you know, we like, even if we get an iPhone 6 or whatever, we first get a scratch guard for it, we get a cover for it. So what are we doing? We are not demeaning it by putting a cover on it. We're just showing that we care for it. So similarly, women are being cared for just by saying that people don't look attractive to them, so that they give you, you know, unnecessary attention.
Since when does dress start representing suppression? You look at other communities where women are not wearing burqa. Can you say that women are not suppressed? There is no patriarchy in other communities where there is no burqa? There is no misogynist attitude towards women where they are not wearing a burqa? No, that is not true.
See, first of all, we have to understand that all women in India live under the burden of patriarchy. Muslims, because the Muslim women wear a burqa or they do hijab, so they are seen as more oppressed than others. But I think somewhere down the line, all of them would be in the same category and in the same boat. All of them are sailing in the same boat, where we are all fighting to find our own voice and to grow.
In the modern scenario, hijab is also, apart from being used, I think, as a religious headgear, is also sometimes used as a political statement. And I see so many young people I meet across the world, and in my own family, the younger generation, my nieces, they're all wearing the hijab, and they have actually fought with their families and with their fathers and with their husbands for their right to wear the hijab. And that's a personal choice. I mean, I think nobody should, force it on, and nobody should ask anybody to take it off. It's really a woman's choice of how she chooses to dress and which way she is comfortable.
The first verse that came down in the Quran regarding hijab is for the men. Lower your gaze. That is, aankh ka hijab karo. Now men forget that, huh? Then and it also says dress modestly. Then after that, that is verse number 30 of Surah Nisa. Then the 31st verse tells the women that you must also do aankh ka hijab, that is lower your gaze and dress modestly and cover your beauty. Now it says zinat, the word is zeba and zinat. Now that is depends on what you are interpreting it as.
When we talk of stereotypes, I think there has been a stereotyping for decades of Muslim men and Muslim women, not just women. And we need to break that stereotype, not just with help from the media, but also by actually living out and presenting the right examples of Islam.
Unfortunately, it is the world over that, there is a lot of Islamophobia that has developed. And that has developed because of, organizations like the Al-Qaeda or organizations like the ISIS, which have turned extremely violent and which make very anti-Islamic statements in the name of Islam. They use women badly, they treat women badly, they speak against women, which is quite un-Islamic. They behead journalists, and so Muslim women are caught in that web. And therefore you find that, you see, the marginalization is their fear. There is a latent fear of them to come out on the one hand. Secondly, there is a bit of patriarchy that dominates, Muslim societies, as we see, in the Muslim personal laws today, where the triple talak is concerned, misogyny. And I don't think that misogyny is all over the world. If you look at the US elections today, Hillary Clinton last week made a statement that it is one of the reasons that she lost the elections was due to the misogynistic outlook. So, I mean, no part of the world is free of it. And I think America also, got its right to suffrage only in the early 20th century, and the women had to tie themselves up to trains. I think that was the myth. So women suffer all over the world, but you see this myth that has developed around Muslim women, around Islam, that keeps Muslim women backwards, and we have to fight those myths because they are totally not based on Islam, not based on Quranic traditions, and completely out of sync with the realities that exist today.
हमारी राय भी यही है, एक आदमी ये कहता है ज़ोर के साथ, पूरे एम्फेसिस के साथ, मैंने 3 तलाक दी है और इस औरत से अभी छुटकारा हासिल करना चाहता हूँ, ये गलत औरत है, उसकी पास गलत बातें मेरे सामने आई हैं, हम ये भी नहीं पूछेंगे उससे कि क्या गलत बातें हैं, इससे कि वो पब्लिक इशू बन जाएगा। और बाज़ औक़ात औरत ख़ुद भी चाहती है कि इस शख्स के साथ मैं रहना नहीं चाहती, बहुत गलत आदमी है ये, मारता पीटता है, पीता है और दूसरी और उसकी गलत हरकतें हैं, तो वो तो खुश हो जाती है ना इससे।
Muslim men, particularly the clergy, would love to create a binary between binary of RSS versus Islam, right? It would suit them because then only they can ask Muslim women to shut up and do not say anything against whatever is going on within the community, because we are under siege, we are in danger, Islam khatre mein hai, and just because this mentality of being under siege all the time, we have like perpetual emergency and battle to save Islam.
See, actually within the community people saying that right-wing government can't interfere the personal laws, but is it within the community nobody have a right wings? Huh? So religious organizations also the right wings, na? All India Muslim Personal Law Board also right wings. Why not taking a stand to support for the Muslim women? Why they saying कि अगर इस्लाम खतरे में हो जाएगा, जब भी मुसलमान औरतें कोर्ट में जाती हैं, जब भी मुसलमान औरतें अपने राइट्स की बात करती हैं, तो इस्लाम खतरे में हो जाता है। किसका इस्लाम है? क्या औरतों का इस्लाम नहीं है? और जो औरतें कोर्ट में जाती हैं, क्या वो इस्लाम को नहीं मानती हैं? ये पूरी तरह से मिसगाइड किया जाता है। ये मिसगाइड किया जाता है कि देखो जो लोग रिफॉर्म्स और राइट्स और कोर्ट में जा रही है वो सब आरएसएस के और बीजेपी के एजेंट हैं। नो, totally wrong, totally misguide for the all Muslim community.
I don't think the Muslim Personal Law Board is that influential as the media thinks it is. They're a bunch of, there's just a bunch of patriarchal people, and they just try to shout and scream because if all the time, and they are completely anti-women. I mean, now they have one or few women on their board, but I don't think they represent the aspirations of the Muslim community in general, or all the schools of law that people follow in India. And it doesn't have really legal, in the sense it's not a politically recognized body.
They have no legal authority to decide what is Muslim personal law. They are an association like any other association. They are an NGO like any other NGO. Their membership consists of the hierarchy of the community. So they do, and like in all communities, it is the elite which dominate the community as such. But there are now many challenges made to their authority. What is the Bharatiya Muslim Mahila Andolan? It's another organization consisting of Muslim women who say that we will decide for ourselves what the law is.
This board has safeguards, has stood by the oppressive practices. It has never come up with anything that is pro-women, that is for the progress of women, for the better life of women. Imagine Muslim Personal Law Board asking Government of India to exempt Muslim female child from Minimum Marriageable Age Act laws. Imagine in this, see, by making by ensuring child marriages and forced marriages, what they are doing is they are trying to stunt the educational growth, the financial growth of Muslim women.
It's a panchayat system. That's what it is, and they apply the law which they consider to be applicable to them. For example, khap panchayats, say that you can't marry outside your gotra. The law doesn't say that, the law of the land doesn't say that, but the law of the Khap Panchayat says that. Similarly, these courts, coincide courts, also decide according to how they see the Sharia. But the point that you have to know is India is a secular country, okay, unlike Pakistan, which is an Islamic state. And their Sharia courts are the courts that you go to when you want a dispute resolved, not in India. Which is why a Muslim woman, if she wants a divorce, has to go to a district court. She doesn't go to a Sharia court.
Now, as far as the Quran goes, there is only one verse where it says that women are not equal to men, and that is in physicality. But as far as strength of character and strength of determination is concerned, there is no difference. The Prophet Khadija, who was his first wife, was 15 years older than him. She was his employer. She was the one of the most successful business people, and I won't say businesswoman because there must have been many women, but she was one of the most successful business persons of Mecca. So she was looking for an employee a manager to run the caravan, and she employed Muhammad, who at that time was 25, she was 40. And when the caravan came back, she was very impressed by his integrity, his character and his general demeanor, and she sent a proposal to him through her cousin, and he accepted it. They were married. Muhammad shifted to his house and they started living together, and theirs was a perfect marriage. And it was she who supported him. She is the first person to become a Muslim after him. Of course, the Prophet would be the first Muslim, but she is the first person to convert to Islam. And it was her money which was used to propagate the message of Islam. And everything that she had, she spent on the Prophet and his message and on Islam. So, how can we say that women are not equal? In fact, I would say that they are more than equal.
कुरान ने जो औरतों को जो है बराबरी का, इक्वलिटी का जो है एक मुकाम दिया है, जो बराबरी दी है, वो इससे पहले किसी भी जो है मज़हब ने औरतों को जो है बराबरी का नहीं दिया मुकाम। तो कुरान और मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जिस दीन को लेकर आए हैं, उसमें जो है औरतें ना कि ग़ुलाम हैं, औरतें जो है आज़ाद हैं।
The Quran only prescribes two types of talaq. One is called talaq hasan, which is said to be preferred, and it's a 3-month period. No? Both the talaqs in the Quran are given over a 3-month period, where you pronounce talaq in the first month, and then after that for 3 months you don't have any physical relationships with your wife, and then when she is not menstruating, then you pronounce the third talaq, that's after 90 days. And then the talaq is confirmed. But in between that 90 days, if at any point of time he feels that he wants to go back, the marriage is valid again. Now, the second one is called talaq hasan, which is said to be the most preferred one, in which after the first pronouncement of the word talaq, there is every attempt for reconciliation and arbitration by members of the family, by elders and counselors, whoever you have access to. And only when there is a complete breakdown and you feel that you cannot, like live with her any longer, then you have the third talaq again after 90 days, when the woman is not menstruating, and then the talaq is final. Before that, it can be revoked. Now, what we have in India is called this instant triple talaq, which is called triple talaq, has been banned in all the other Muslim countries, Islamic countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia. None of them have it.
This practice is unique in India. Within India also, each Muslim category is not practicing it. We have a diversity of Muslims among India also. We have Sunni, Shia. Within Shia we have 5 sects. Within Sunni we have number of sects, and only Sunni Muslims are practicing. Within Sunni Muslim also, Ahle Hadith do not practice triple talaq. So it is a problem of a sect, not Muslim per se. The larger Muslim identity is not involved in that.
Interestingly enough, within the tradition of Sharia, there is the possibility of interpretation according to modern times. And so it's a very important part of law making in the Sharia, namely interpretation.
Islam has a concept called ijtihad, which is changing with the times, which encouraging critical thinking, analysis. If they would do that, they would realize that things like triple talaq are irrelevant, not present in the Quran, and they should let it go.
Mullahs have given this impression that polygamy is prescriptive, not restrictive. Not restrictive. In Quran, it is very much restrictive.
The Quran says very, very clearly, do not have more than one wife if you cannot treat her equally. And it also says it's very difficult to treat 2 women or 3 women equally. So what does that mean? Don't have more than one wife and be faithful to one wife that you have.
ये सारी चीज़ें जो है नॉलेज ना होने की वजह है। हमने जो है मज़हब को एक मुकर्रर कर लिया, यानी जो है समेट दिया कि ये मौलाना है, यही जो बात बताएगा वही इस पर मैं अमल करूँगा, ये जो है मस्जिद का मौलवी है, जिस तरह ये मुझे करने को बताएगा मैं उस तरह करूँगा। मैंने खुद जो है उस चीज़ को जाके नहीं देखा कि ये चीज़ है क्या ये।
I think Muslim communities are very marginalized and they're crying out for help in the area of job, healthcare, development, education. So it's really you have to look at the Muslim family as a unit. We cannot really just pull the Muslim woman out and say, oh, she's suffering, because the truth is that entire families suffer, and that includes the women in the family.
The numbers have gone higher. We can't say that the men and women are competing with the national average or they at the national, but we are getting there. And especially it is it looks very bright where women's education is concerned. Now I'm saying that because I'm associated with the Anjuman-e-Islam. I'm on their board, and I'm on the board of the Muslim Girls School, and I find that parents are taking a great interest even in a place like Nagpara. Parents are taking a great interest, and even the fathers are taking an interest. And though Anjuman-e-Islam has 2 schools out there, many are very keen that their children should learn English also besides Urdu education. And Urdu is also being upgraded, that the science subjects are now taught in English. So I can say that yes, Muslim education levels among Muslims is on the rise. Employment. You find that the employment of Muslim women is very low, and in health also these issues do come up, and I think that is the general lethargy of a nation as a whole. That health has never really been one of the priorities, and when it is a priority, women's health is not really a top priority. So all women cutting across religions suffer, and Muslims a little more maybe.
Sometimes the media tends to sensationalize things, but by and large we are hearing more and more voices of Muslim women, and that makes it easier to understand and address those concerns. But the real change has to come from within the community. Women must take on leadership roles. I would like to see them learn more about Islam, their rights as a Muslim woman, their rights as Indian citizens, and we all have to help them realize their full potential.
You also mentioned, the voice of the progressive Muslim women is missing. Now here I'd like to, it's just a thought that struck me, that as we were growing up and, like my parents and their grandparents, there was a certain kind of tehzeeb that, was in our families. And that tehzeeb was that people from genteel families, Sharifana ghar jo hote the, they did not raise their voices, they did not come out in open, they did not praise themselves, they did not push themselves forward. And I remember when I was in college, and that goes for men and women both, we could never, praise ourselves, push ourselves forward, and, in your face, my voice in your face types. And when I was in Aligarh, I did my master's in Aligarh Muslim University, my post-graduation and graduation. I remember there used to be this phrase on the walls, the silent majority. And I could never figure out what is the silent majority. Till recently I realized we are the silent majority and we have to speak up. And that is why the voice which was missing, now you will find that it's coming out of the houses and coming out onto the streets.
Muslim women, all those who are involved, all those who are party to this battle that is going on in the court right now, whether it is the Andolan, whether it is other group, whether it is individual who are petitioning, we are unruffled. And luckily the media and the saner voices from from the community as well as outside the community. They have come together with us.
So many of us who are writing now, so many of us write for various newspapers, digital papers. We are writing about our feelings, we are writing about the rights that we have. I am using the social media platform, and I know many people of the Muslim women. I have so many friends who are all using the social media platform to put forward our thoughts and our ideas. So we are going in a good direction and a correct direction, and hopefully we will be able to bring in more and more into our fold.